Welcome to the Illuminated Eye, where history, psychology, and culture converge. I'm Mustafa, your host. In today's talk, we explore how reconnecting with our ancestry and family history can serve as a pathway to healing, a concept deeply rooted in the wisdom of African centered thought. Across African traditions, there is a guiding principle called Sankofa, meaning to go back and fetch it. It teaches that progress is impossible without remembering what has been forgotten. In African centered psychology, this is more than metaphor, it's a foundation for mental and spiritual health. Research in contemporary psychology supports this insight. Individuals who know their family stories tend to show higher resilience, stronger self esteem, and deeper identity formation. Yet, for African descended people, this process carries a unique cultural power. Dr. Wade Nobles, one of the founders of African psychology, teaches that healing begins with the restoration of African consciousness, the understanding that we are not isolated beings, but parts of an unbroken lineage. When we trace our family history, we are practicing Sankofa. Each story we uncover becomes a thread reconnecting us to community, ancestors, and meaning. Dr. Naim Akbar deepens this through the ancient instruction, Know Thyself. He reminds us that self knowledge is incomplete without historical awareness. To understand who we are, we must remember who we come from. Genealogy, then, is not simply record keeping, it's self repair. It allows us to resist misdefinition and reclaim dignity in a society that often distorts our identity. Together, Nobles and Akbar remind us that genealogy is not nostalgia, it is therapy, a means of reconnection that restores continuity between past and present, and by doing so, strengthens the spirit. Building on this foundation, Dr. Linda James Myers introduces optimal psychology, a framework grounded in African worldviews. She defines wellness as balance between self and community, between body and spirit, between humanity and nature. Tracing one's ancestry, she suggests, restores that balance. It reminds us that we are part of an interdependent whole. In African philosophy, this truth is expressed through Ubuntu. I am because we are. By remembering our ancestors, we remember our place within the web of life. Dr. Kobi Kambon, also known as Joseph Baldwin, extends this conversation with his theory of African self-consciousness. He argued that psychological health depends upon awareness of one's African identity. Without it, we become misoriented, separated from the cultural and spiritual roots that give life meaning. Genealogy becomes a powerful corrective to this disconnection. Imagine tracing your family's journey from the Carolinas to Virginia and then discovering ancestral connections to West Africa. That revelation restores continuity, grounding identity in truth rather than distortion. For Kambon, this awareness is liberation itself. When we recover the stories of those who came before, we reclaim authorship of our own narrative. We remember that we are heirs to resilience, creativity, and survival. Myers and Kambon together show that ancestry is not simply about where we come from, but about who we are allowed to become. Through cultural memory, the individual is healed and the community is strengthened. Dr. Joy DeGruy's concept of post-traumatic slave syndrome reveals how the trauma of slavery echoes through generations, but she also points toward healing through remembrance, through storytelling, community connection, and ritual acknowledgement. Every ancestor remembered is a step toward transformation. Similarly, Dr. Asa Hilliard, both psychologist and historian, taught that cultural memory is the foundation of identity. He called for re-Africanization, a deliberate return to heritage and consciousness. Without memory, Hilliard warned, identity collapses. But when we remember, we restore wholeness. These insights find practical form in African-centered therapy, where clinicians use genograms, family diagrams adapted to include extended kin, spiritual traditions, and migration paths. Storytelling circles and ancestor acknowledgements turn genealogy into living therapy, a ritual of remembrance that heals both the mind and the collective spirit. When we weave together the insights of Nobles, Akbar, Myers, Kambon, DeGruy, and Hilliard, a profound realization emerges. Genealogy and ancestral remembrance are not hobbies. They are sacred practices, forms of resistance, restoration, and remembrance. And in that restoration lies something deeper than psychology. When memory returns, when the names are spoken, and when heritage is honored, a kind of equilibrium returns to the soul. It is not only the intellect that heals, but the inner life itself. This is what African centered psychology calls medicine for the soul, the recovery of wholeness through remembrance. It is both science and spirit, history and healing interwoven. You've been watching The Illuminated Eye, where we illuminate the past to heal the present. Don't forget to like and subscribe and continue the journey toward knowledge, culture, and restoration. Peace.